So yeah, I don't really have issue with Homeboy's work. I mean, I just don't really care. It is what it is.
He's a personal hero.
His work I've loved for very many years.
He was a big hero of mine since I was 13, 14 years old.
Determination, willpower.
Strong.
Winner.
He's always made me laugh.
Well, of course, he started a cultural revolution of unprecedented worldwide extent.
The three of us were kind of together. Even though our work is very different, and you look at the imagery, we're talking about a lot of the same things, and we were going about it the same way. So we had a lot of the same philosophies, and we shared a lot of time together, and we had a very intense, healthy competition going on with each other.
It's great to work with him, and he's very professional. He's really terrific in the film, and his acting is great, and he was very gracious to me the whole time, so we had a great time.
Prior to even meeting him, he was somebody that I'd greatly admired. His work, his books, his outlook, his whole way of life, his whole sort of way of moving forward in this kind of strange little soup bowl of existence. And when I met him, there was an instant kind of click between the two of us, and from that second on, it never let up. We were very close until the moment of his exit.
Right. We're still looking at the work. It's still profoundly affecting so many people, artists and thinkers and everybody. So it's still growing, but I only think it was before the internet really was happening.
This man was a scholar, he was a war hero. In his lifetime, he was viewed as Britain's greatest travel writer.
He's not known for his work, he's known for his image as a cult figure. Well, myths are always partly self-made, but myths are what our system of culture thrives on.
He's one of the funniest people that I've ever come across. And I've read some of his books, and I've got to keep rereading them again and again. And some of his books might take me a year or two to read, because I've literally read a paragraph, laugh, think about it, go away, come back a few days later and have to reread the same paragraph again just to make sure I understood it. And such complete nonsense. But this guy, I mean, he's a war hero, and he has that mix of real sort of fact and trauma, and there's a real story behind it, but underlying it all is always this amazing sense of humour.
He's given me guidance, both personal and professional, and and I'm always very, very grateful to him. And I think that, generally speaking, in the films, my acting is never better than when I'm acting with him.
His last report from the King's School noted that he was a dangerous mixture of sophistication and recklessness. And with that kind of attribute, I don't think he could have grown up to be anything more than the marvellous person that he became to be.
Really realizes he's a great producer. I've always known this, but it brought me back to that time.
Some people think that's what he does best. He thinks that's what he does best.
I think that's what he does best.
He does think that's what he does best.
It made me realize that he's not a good producer, he's a great producer.
He's across the table, very, very matter-of-factly, he goes, "Kenton, I'd like you to guide me up the north face of the Eiger."
He's just an intense person, an intense personality, and it shines in his rhythms. On those first two albums, the rhythms he would write were mind-blowing. The rhythms were just kind of almost impressive as anyone's lead playing.
Like Mark said, amazing riffs and a lot of stuff that he wrote. Also, I think he had amazing lead guitar playing. He's definitely a ripping guitar player, and that's, one of the main ingredients in metal is some ripping guitar playing and some blistering lead playing. And back in the time, it was very influential to a lot of people playing guitar and trying to rip fast like that. And, the Yeah, he had good feeling and good ripping, and I think he's a good lead guitar player.
Very intricate riffs.
Yeah.
So he was very much a part of his own time, and still it feels really contemporary when you look at it today.
He's a great player and a great personality also, and he has been very faithful for the club.
This guy was a poet of some renown as well. He was one of the nation's favourite poets. So, yeah, just an incredible life this guy has lived, where he's a writer, a poet, a storyteller, hero of sorts to some, definitely to me. But yeah, he's somebody I'd really like to have met in real life, but not meeting him, I felt I still know a lot about him through his writings.
His work has meant so much for me. You know, it's I've been inspired and amazed by his work, and it have done so much for me. So, thank you.
There'll never be another one. I just do my best to do what I can to carry his music on just as much as anybody else's music that I've really appreciated all my life.
It's like word goes around, this guy got up to jam with Cream and he cut Clapton. He killed God, man, you know.
I ran backstage and Eric was standing trying to light a cigarette, you know. His hands were shaking. He just says, "Is he really that good?"
It was just him with the accent and the hair and the humanity he brought to the character.
He stowed away on a ship bound for Holland, and once it reached there, he snuck onto the mainland, and over the next 2 years, he walked to Constantinople, taking up many adventures on the way. He got caught up in a military dispute in Macedonia, where he met a general who was fighting on the royalist side. They were fighting socialist rebels, and he was involved in many clashes and distinguished himself. He climbed Mount Athos. He met nobility, gentry, who put him up in their houses. He stayed in shepherds' huts, and finally he made it to Constantinople.
I've always been blown away by it because he's such a good actor that he literally can't get famous because he's unrecognizable and everything. I just think he's amazing.
Like many other artists internationally, when you work, deal with issues that he deals with, because it's so much part of everyday life. And it's the issues that are the most important, it's not the landscape. That's why I think everyone, wherever you grow up, can relate to his work.
Yeah, he was definitely the best, the quickest speaker I've ever known. Yeah.